Lesson 1-2, adding and subtracting decimals. What we're going to talk about today is how we add and subtract decimals. Now this is a review for you. We've done this before. The first thing you need to do is that you make sure that you're adding up like things. So you're adding up ones with ones and tens with tens, tenths with tenths. And the easiest way to line everything up is to use your decimal point as your guide. So line up the numbers by using the decimal. And for many people, it's a good idea that if one number has more digits than the other, you insert zeros at the end of it so that they have the same number of digits. That's very helpful for many people. In subtraction, it's also important to remember to always put the larger number on top. But remember, larger does not necessarily mean longer. It just means larger value. And then, of course, if you need to, you might need to borrow or rename when you're subtracting. So let's look at two examples. We're going to use the same digits each time. First, we're going to add them, and then we're going to subtract them. So we take our numbers and line them up. So we have the 5 tens with the 1 tens, the no ones with the 3 ones, the 1 tenth with the no tenths, and then this one didn't have any hundredths, so we went ahead and put a 0 to mark its place, and 6 hundredths. So we have everything lined up, and then we simply add 0 plus 6, 1 plus 0, 0 plus 3, 5 plus 1, and we bring our decimal place straight down into the answer, 63.16, or 63 16 hundredths. Now subtract. We line everything up, so same as the first. This time, and I've on purpose left this go until now, we cannot take 6 from 0, so we have to borrow. So if we borrow, we're going to borrow from next door. That 1 becomes a 0, excuse me, and our 0 becomes 10, because what we did was we went to the 10 column and we borrowed a 10. Now we have 10 minus 6 is 4. 0 minus 0 is 0. Oh, we're going to have to borrow again. We cannot take 3 from nothing. So we're going to borrow 1 from the 5. We'll make that a 4. And we're going to make our 0 into a 10. Because again, we borrowed one that's 10 bigger. 10 minus 3 is 7. 4 minus 1 is 3. Our final answer, 37 4 hundredths. Another part of this lesson that's important are our properties. In fact, this is also part of what is considered your vocabulary. So you do need to not only recognize these properties, but you should be able to give an example of these properties. These properties are what make math possible. Our first property is called the identity property of addition. It simply says that the sum of any number and 0 is going to be that number. You already know that, but you need to know what it's called. When you can do that, that's called the identity property of addition. The identity being the number you start with. How can you not change that identity if you're going to add something to it? The only way you can do that is by adding 0. Okay, so here is our two examples. 6 plus 0 is 6. 0 plus 6 is 6. And here is our example showing you that it could be any number plus 0. We'll give you that number back. Our second property is the commutative property of addition. What that property says that you can change the order of the addends, but your sum will never change. So it doesn't matter which one comes first. 3.4 plus 5.2 will be the same or equivalent to 5.2 plus 3.4. So you'll notice that they didn't take the problem and find a sum. What they're showing you here with this example is that on either side of the equal sign, they have switched the order of the addends. and it still means that they're equivalent because of the commutative property of addition. So if you need to show an example of the commutative property of addition, you would show 2 or 3 numbers added together, and then on the other side of the equal sign you would show how you've changed the order of those add-ins. That is a good example of commutative property. And here is to show you that it's with any number. Any number A plus any number B would be equivalent to the reverse of that order. Our third property is the associative property of addition. What it says is you can change the grouping of the addition and it will not change the sum. So in our first example here, we have a 9 added to a 1.8. They are grouped together and then added to a 0.2. On the other side of the equal sign, they have changed which numbers were grouped. The first time they grouped the 9 and the 1.8, the second time they grouped the 1.8 and the 0.2. So the equal sign shows you that it doesn't matter in the order in which they are grouped. You'll still get the same sum, as long as everything is adding, because it's the property of addition. So these properties are something that we're going to be talking about all year long. It is part of your vocabulary, and so you do need to make sure that you understand these properties and can show examples of them. All right, thank you.